Where do baby crocodiles come from? If you ask this guy, he would tell you that they come from mud. There's no big crocodiles involved. It's just mud just becomes baby crocodiles, and snakes and mice and rats. They all just come from mud. This is called spontaneous generation, and for a long time, people thought that this was how a lot of creatures came into existence. Inanimate objects would just spontaneously generate living things. This guy even came up with a recipe for mice. So if you leave dirty cloth and wheat out for 21 days, it will turn into mice. Now, of course, we know that's not true. Living things can only come from other living things. Mud cannot just become life. That's ridiculous. Except, like, at some point that did happen, right? It had to, because there was no life on Earth. And then there was. So how did that happen? Let's talk about it. Or at least let's talk about one experiment that gave us some clues about how it may have happened. So you've probably heard the phrase primordial soup before. Basically, it's this idea that 4 billion years ago, Earth was covered in these warm bodies of water and a gassy atmosphere. To be clear, it's still covered in those things, but it just looks a little different now. Like at some point, oxygen became a main cast member, and that was like a whole thing. But in 1952, Doctors Stanley Miller and Harold Urey had an idea. If you made primordial soup following a recipe that matched our best guess of the chemicals floating around back then, would life come out of it? So Harold and Urey mixed up their primordial homebrew made up of methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water and applied an arc of electricity to simulate lightning. And what came out were molecules called amino acids. Unless you're new here, you've heard me talk about amino acids before. They are the building blocks that make up proteins, and proteins are tools that your cells use to do their jobs. That makes amino acids essential, foundational ingredients for biological life, and the Miller-Urey experiment showed that the extremely simple chemicals that were banging around in the primordial soup had the right chemistry together to make amino acids just by bumping into each other the right way. We now have some updated evidence about what the atmosphere was actually like back then, so Miller and Urey's soup recipe may have been a little bit off, but this experiment still gave us some really important clues about the kinds of chemical reactions that were possible back then, and how they may have eventually led to life. And more importantly, Miller and Urey gave us a valid experimental design. So as we've learned more about what the atmosphere was actually like back then, we've basically just repeated their experiment but with upgraded soup. And each time we get a little bit closer to answering one of the biggest questions ever. How did life begin? On a related note, I think that life on Earth should have a birthday. I think I want life's birthday. I think we should all just pick a day on which life on Earth happened for the first time. I know it's not that simple. I know. But it's fun, okay? Life deserves a birthday, and I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know how you think we should celebrate.